Good evening, viewers. Welcome to the live episode of Digitally Yours. I'm your host, Tausif. Um, I was away earlier this week. Normally, I do it on Tuesday as well, live there. But and this Tuesday, we retelecast one of the episode with Dr. For the people who were involved in post-trade issues there. This is a live episode tonight there. So very warm welcome. Assalamu alaikum, namaste, hola, sasriyakal, wherever you are. Be safe. Um, there are lots of people in this world who have transformed their life. And when I mean transform their life, their stories need to be heard. There are people who come into the mainstream and we see their stories in our real life who have been really a motivation for other peoples who might be on this sort of a situation. This pandemic situation itself has created lots of issues, and recently I'm from Dublin, Ireland, hosting this live there. Recently, there has been an upstream in the number of cases again rising in the winter, and it seems like the difficult situation where all of us were hoping that will go away in the winter has actually started to get more worse. Now, I understand lots of people have lost the jobs. When we talk, especially in the case of Asian countries like India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. This live telecast is going all in those countries there, and the people are facing a very tough situation. And this tough situation, whether it's economically tough because of the finances issues there, or it could be for other reasons that you cannot do the networking, meet your loved ones, meet and greet very regularly as you used to be before March earlier this year. This can create lots of stress on the people itself there. Tonight, we have a very special guest in our studios, joined by co-host by my previous colleague Evelyn. The guest tonight, his name is Luca. Now, talking about Luca, his life, where I can start. When Evelyn introduced me to Luca, and I went through his life story, it is really inspiring, and it's sort of an inspiring for all those people who think that they are in difficult situation. And if you we will tonight listen by his own words, his own story, you will find out that there are a lot of people were in a difficult situation. They transformed their life. So we hear those stories, but it is really possible to transform your life in a short span of a life. That's a very important question, or I would say $1 million question. About his a little bit of his, I would want to go through his short bio about Luca. That he would have, I don't know where to start, but let me try to focus it. After taking drugs for 12 years at the age of 32, and then 2 weeks after having been run over by a car, and 6 years after the death of his beloved mom, the encounter with someone didn't know me totally changed his life. Since then, according to Luca, he stopped believing in death and decided to stop taking the drugs, and he started a spiritual journey. Now, since then, he has become a healing practitioner, a hypnotherapist, EMDR practitioner, and metaphysical counselor. Oh my God. I mean, that's too much even to read about that. He he is now teaching metaphysical courses there, and such a transformation after taking drugs for 12 years. I mean, that's an unsung story according to me. And I heard his or read about his story, my eyes popped and I said, look, there are people out there who can transform their life there. So why can't we transfer, or the people who are in difficult situation in their life journey can transfer their life? I very much welcome in our studio there, Luca, if I can join you us. Very welcome, Luca there. And I also welcome on the main time, Evelyn is also with us there. Let's join her in the studios. Luca, very warm welcome. How are you keeping today from Italy? Are you in Italy, I presume, yeah?
Thank you, Tosif. Thank you so much for having me on your live, on your program. Yes, I'm in Italy. So ciao to everyone.
Okay. Luca, tell me to start with, tell me a little bit about your life, how that happened in a real life. I mean, the audiences would like to understand how that happened, miracle.
Sure. Okay, I'll try to be as synthetic as possible. I actually grew up in the village where I am now, actually, in the house where I am. And at the age of 20, I left Italy to go to London to learn English. And then already my mom, she hadn't been well for a few years already. But she started to be always more and more depressed, addicted to psychodrugs, addicted to alcohol. So my family situation was just not brilliant. And that's probably one of the reasons why I wanted to go to London. The excuse was to learn English, but then I stayed. And when I was in London, it was in the 70s. I'm sorry, in the 90s. So because I wanted to escape from my psychological and emotional situation, because I was suffering seeing my mom being depressed, and physiologically she was fine. She wasn't physiologically ill. It was all in her mind. And so to escape, but also because I was curious in England, in London, and I wanted to experiment everything, I learned to drink a lot of alcohol, but that's easy in London anyway. But I also got into drugs. Quite heavy drugs, and I started to take them regularly. So, at the age of 25, when my mom was 47, she died, and I remember, they say, be careful what you wish, you may just get it. She didn't commit suicide though. But I remember once she told me, she looked at me and she literally went, you know what, my biggest wish is, Luca, is to die. If it wasn't because of you and your brother, I don't want to live anymore. Well, in fact, she left. It was a serious, she choked on a piece of pizza, would you believe it? But anyway, so after her death, of course, I had one more reason and one more excuse to go heavy on the drinks and on the drugs. But something happened in 2002 when I was 32, and 6 years after the death of my mom, which, by the way, after her death, I had 2 major car accidents, but I was completely unharmed here in Italy. In 2000, the year 2000 in London, one night I was out driving, but I was completely under the influence of alcohol and drugs. So I got stopped by the police. I spent the night in jail. And in 2002, one evening I went out, but I had taken again lots of drugs. And when I was crossing the road, I got hit by a car. So I smashed my head against the windshield, which it looked like a brick had been smashed on it. But again, I was totally unharmed. But 2 weeks after having been run over by a car in a bar in central London, it was about 8 o'clock in the evening. It was early, so I hadn't drank yet, and I hadn't taken any drugs. So I was sober. And this man that didn't know me, that I didn't know, approached me, and he told me, listen, I have to speak to you. I am a medium. There is someone here. And something, and this is 6 years after the death of my mom, and something inside of me literally told me, just listen. And he went on saying, there is someone here. It could be your mom. She wants me to tell you that she's absolutely fine. She's happy where she is. She would come down in an instant to help you out, like she's always done. Although it's time for you to take responsibility for your life and to change your lifestyle. And also, she wants me to tell you to be really careful not to drink and drive, and not to get into cars with people that have been drinking for the next 2 weeks. I haven't seen that guy since. He didn't ask me for money. Well, that encounter literally changed my life. And of course, I was really careful for the next 2 weeks not to drink and drive. But the point is, I am, and since then anyway, I wanted to know, and I started to feel happy because, but this is what I did, and it's important that I say that I am not here to be evangelistic or to say what could be before or after death. No.
No, but let me stop you, Luca, here. The story till now, I mean, what you have stated looks like you're watching a movie. Am I correct to say that if I recall it, and you're narrating to audiences there, it looks like somebody, an angel, came to you and advised you what to do and how to do it. It just looked like you're watching a movie there. And my question, sorry to interrupt here, was that did you believe at that time? I mean, what was the motivation level to believe that, yes, somebody is conveying a message, or maybe perhaps your mom is conveying your message?
Yes, well, that's exactly what I was getting at. Is that what I did, it was simply choosing to believe that what that man told me could have been true. So but it's difficult to, I mean, the way I felt was also a confirmation, or maybe just my eagerness to believe that it was true. I literally felt, you know, have you ever heard anybody say anything and your body just reacts to it? It's a physical feeling. Yeah. Something say yes. And I remember I had goosebumps all over. And then, well, that evening I walked from the bar home. It took me over 2 hours, and I was just crying and crying. I was happy. I was crying for happiness. To me, really it was a confirmation. But again, I am not here to say that it's true or not true, what's before or after death. But the fact that I chose to believe that could have been true, and yes, there is something still of my mom that exists, literally made so that the fear of death, which I was fearful of death before, just disappeared. But then I did something else. When I went home, I literally looked up, and with a very, very daring attitude, because up to that point, and also I can see now, while I was attracting car accidents and I was arguing with people and my life was just nowhere near as it is today, it's because I was very negative. I had a very negative mindset, and I was angry with life. So I looked up and I literally went, okay, if there's someone out there, come on, help me out. I want to change. And you know what? I did change. I stopped taking drugs. And from then on, it became very, very obvious to me, the relationship that it's between my thoughts, my feelings, my emotions, and what life brings to me. So because of this very shift in my emotional state, I literally it was like, for me, it was as if I was awake again. And I wanted to know what was happening to me. So anything that was personal growth, anything that was of a spiritual nature, I was just eager to know. And since then, which was 2002, is like, 18 years ago, when I realized that feeling of happiness, of contentment, of joy, meaning the void that I felt was just being filled with I don't know what, I remember I made a pact to life itself. And the pact was like, thank you so much. I would do anything from now on to be in this state of being naturally. And I promise you, and my promise and my intention from now on is to be able one day to do something with this power, this energy, this peace, inner peace that I found, to help others. I'd like to transmit it to others somehow. And yes, I mean, it's been a long journey and it's never ending. I will never stop learning and working on myself. Although I'm now starting to truly reaping the benefit of this process.
That's good. Tell me, there is two aspects of it. One is that the habit, for example, drinking habit, you had it because of the circumstances prevailing around you. And then there is another aspect of it to upgrade your education skills or knowledge or training. What was your education at that time? And then this 8 years of since 2002, 8 years, to 18 years, sorry, not 8 years, 18 years, you transform yourself there as a trainer there. So what was this journey like, itself?
Yes, I started to read books. Like, for example, I tell you, which I love those books, and I invite anybody to read them if you haven't yet. Conversations with God, the books of Neil Donald Walsh. That's probably the first books that I started to read on a spiritual realm. And then in 2005, I knew about reconnective healing. I read a book about the reconnection. So I went to a seminar in London where you learn how to become a reconnective healing practitioner. And I loved it because I had a problem with my knee and it cleared up literally in the space of a weekend. So I trained again. I became a reconnective healing practitioner, and then in 2009 I started to work alongside the founder of the reconnective healing, Eric Pearl, and I traveled the world with them until 2014. But from 2010 I started also to study metaphysics. So I studied it for.
And if I ask, why metaphysics? Why not chemistry? Why not biology? Or why not marketing?
Good one. Because since I was a very, very young child, I have always been attracted and fascinated by everything that you cannot see. And my motto has always been and still is, tell me something I haven't heard. And I want to know and see what it can be known yet or seen. And metaphysics, literally, it means meta means beyond, above. Physics is physicality. So it's about everything that cannot be seen. So it's about consciousness, it's about energy, it's about spirituality. So I studied it. I became a metaphysical practitioner, then a facilitator. Then I went on and I became a teacher. Now I'm also a metaphysical teacher for the school of metaphysics. And then I actually went the other way around. And then it was only in 2015 or 14 that I started. I studied university here in Italy, and I studied for 5 years, and I got a master's degree in clinical psychology. So I went to the spiritual realm first, and then to the, let's say, scientific.
Okay.
Side of it.
Evelyn, you have been very quiet. Thank you for such a patience there. As a spiritual life coach yourself, what do you think of this whole transformation? I would like to ask you. And then on second count, if you have any questions with Luca, please go ahead there before I come back to Luca again. Is that okay?
That's perfect. No, I like to listen. And I've heard Luca's story. Me, myself and Luca are very good friends. But strangely, Luca, when you mentioned about your mummy there tonight again, my eyes just started to well up. And I have heard you tell me this story before. What I believe of metaphysics, as we, myself and Luca, have discussed, it's all that spirituality, that the seen, the unseen, the touched, the untouched. It's all that same divine, whatever people choose to call it. I believe it's all the same thing, that goes beyond, that stretches the mind. And as Luca had said previously, when the gentleman spoke to him in the bar about that feeling, you see, because we can't sometimes see something, we doubt that, we question, but it's that feeling. And that's what we all have, that remembrance, that knowing. And then we'll question, what is that really in ourselves? So absolutely, this man, when I say walks his talk, 110%. And you know, just because people practice spirituality or talk about all these things, it doesn't have to be very serious and very boring. He's the most joyous, loving, giving man that I have had the privilege of sharing time with and presence with. So that's how our paths cross, by effortless interaction of energy and love. And yeah, of course it exists. Of course it exists. Luca, my question then for you, if you had something motivational, and I know we say with motivation, it's a short fix, but what could you deliver to others that perhaps are at our lower vibration, or in that fear or anger or anxiety, unknown? What advice could you offer anyone from your experience on how to shift that vibration to bringing about what it is they wish for in life?
Thank you so much. I would advise anybody that is in a personal place where they're not enjoying themselves to be at. I think the starting point of everything, which it was for me, looking at everything in retrospect, and I see also people I work with, it's to acknowledge and to realize that where they're at, it's not where they want to be. In other words, admit it that, yes, there is something here which I don't like. In other words, you can only solve a problem if you acknowledge that there is a problem. Many people, and I was one of them, they don't realize that they have had enough of what they're doing, or they think it's okay, or whatever else. They don't want to see that they don't like it. So I think to know that we are ready for a change, we are ready to transform something, is the first step. And then, okay, because then people think, but I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. Well, let me tell you, I have lived it, and how you, Evelyn, said, we are all connected. We are all one thing with life, with the universe. If you truly have had enough of your life right now, all is required is for you to state and declare to yourself, maybe others if you want to make it even stronger, but to life itself. In other words, that's what I do, and I advise everybody to, okay, start, and if you don't believe it, just play with it. But imagine that there is always someone, something, an intelligence, a power, which there is, you're never alone, with you. So ask it, her, them, whatever you want to choose, it's just energy. Ask, help me out, I've had enough. What can I do? What could my next step be? And then just do not worry. I've been saying that, then you can forget to have asked those questions and just be on the lookout. Life will give you, maybe you stumble upon us talking this evening, may always also open doors from you or elevate your kind of vibration. You may feel that what we are talking about, like Evelyn was saying, resonate with you at a level that didn't resonate with you before. But then what you can do definitely is do whatever you can to focus right here, right now, because life is always now, on what is making you feel at least at peace. But if you can do something that floats your boat, so to speak, that makes you feel excited, do it. In other words, make your make your aim always to be in a state of emotional peace at least, but also excitement, regardless to what you do. In other words, love what you do and do what you love. Find yourself something enjoyable to do in any given moment. And that's, I believe, is the most powerful thing you can do. And really, and also I have to thank very much Evelyn, which she wrote this book, which by the way, I've got it here because it's a beautiful book, and also A Life You Want, which she really explain you how to use your mind and your spirit to do something practical in any given moment to raise your vibration, so to speak, because that's what you can do. And also, because it worked for me, just imagine, if you don't believe it yet, that there is a power with you that you can, and you're always connected to it, that you can rely to and regard it as being your best friend. You are actually in communion with that power. And that power is going to show itself to you to the degree that you believe in it. But it's not just make believe. Believe me, it's true. But that's life as it is, that's the magic of it. If you don't believe that something is true, it won't be true for you. But if you believe it is, it is.
Okay.
Amazing, I think.
That's good.
That is.
Amazing.
Yeah. I'm finding myself very emotional here tonight, Luca, now when you're talking.
It is. That's incredible, to be honest.
Yeah, sorry.
But as you're saying, everything's connected, and it comes to us in human form as well as solid form. And again, the same lower vibration, we will attract that, perhaps the alcohol, the drugs, the poor relationships, the bad jobs, all of that you're transmitting and you're attracting wherever you're at.
Yes, exactly. Thank you for reminding us of that. Sometimes people think, they hear about the law of attraction and they think, oh, I haven't got what it takes. No, you have it. I can demonstrate. I'm this demonstration of that. Guys, whenever I wanted drinks or drugs, and I'm serious, drinks, you can get them anywhere. But whenever I even wanted drugs, I'm serious. I could have been traveling somewhere in a remote place where you think, yeah, drugs, yeah, what? Believe me, if I wanted it, I would find it. I'm serious. And that proves that there's people sometimes in prison or in institutions where you think, oh, I'm sure they can do. Yeah, they do what they want. You want your fix with drugs or drinks, you get it. You want it, you get it, whatever it is. Seriously, my mom, she didn't want to live anymore. And you know what? She didn't live. That's how powerful our mind and our thoughts are. So if we just start to discipline ourselves, just start watching yourself. What is it that I'm focusing upon now? What is it that I'm feeling? Do I like it? Keep on doing it. Do I not like it? Well, steer your focus somewhere else, and you can do that. And then when you see some even little results, you start getting excited about the whole process. And then it's like a snowball. And then you realize that you are a creator. We are all creators. You create your reality. I create my reality. And all of us are co-creating it. It's amazing.
So if I can ask you a question, Luca, what message you would like to give to the people who wants to transform their life? They are in, say, a real dire states at the moment. I don't want to use the word which we always use, the shit there. They are in real dire states and they want to transform their life there. You did yourself. You are a prior example sitting in front of the people and talking to the audiences. What message? I know it's a willpower is very important. I understand. Everybody understands that. You need to have a good willpower to do that. But beside what willpower, what other things you would say are required in order to transform your life?
Sure. I would say use what I think is one of the most transformative questions that the mind can formulate. And the question is this. Because the biggest the challenge, the grandest the reward, if you can see it. I cannot wait to see what's good is coming out of this. What is the hidden gift? If you ask this question with power behind it, you are already alchemizing, transforming everything. Because I'll tell you what, and this is this, I believe it's just very simple, but it's the ultimate secret of life. Life has got no meaning. Nothing has got a meaning in itself.
Mm-hmm.
We give meanings to everything, consciously or unconsciously. Mm-hmm. So if you want to become a master, be mindful of this and tell yourself, nothing has got a meaning except the meaning I give it. Mm-hmm. I am who I choose to be, and my experience is what I choose it to be. So, having said that, anything can be now be considered to be a tragedy, which is just an interpretation, or could be considered an opportunity for growth, something that we can learn from, and you can see already how everything starts transforming. And then we could get to the state of saying, thank you for this. What is this allowing me to understand, to let go of to get from? I know it's not easy when we are in the midst of it, and especially when somebody is overtaken by sorrow or emotions that they do not like. Mm-hmm. So, everything has to be taken into consideration, meaning this is a question that we can ask ourselves any given moment in time. But if something traumatic has happened, be gentle with yourself and don't expect everything to change from today or tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Like if you lose somebody you love, the grieving process has got a time span that has to be adhered. Life is not only full of joy, life is also made of pain and sometimes suffering. So also to acknowledge the up and down in life, it's also to be able to live peacefully, okay? Because I'm not one for saying that we can always only be happy. No, sometimes we're happy, sometimes we're not.
Yeah, but like I said, that life is like a roller coaster. You go up, you go down, you go up, and you go down. But the constant thing is a change. That is the only constant permanent thing in the world, which is change. You need to change. You need to adapt yourself with the circumstances, and you need to know what is good for you. And that only can be done by experimenting. You need to do a little bit of an experimenting. If you don't do an experiment, I don't think so you will get the results as much as you would wanted to have a result. Am I correct, Evelyn, in saying that?
Yeah, I think it's stepping past that wee bit of fear. But when you're asking Luca that question, there's a lady I was speaking to the other night, or Bernie Allen, her name was, and she gave us this little quote, and I thought that is wonderful. And it was a motto that she repeated over, and a mantra over and over and over all through her years of a very successful business lady. And it was, is what I am doing at this moment in time the most constructive thing I can be doing to achieve whatever it is.
Whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Yes, no, that's
and
correct,
sometimes I believe if it's a fight, if it's hard, if it's, forget it. Because I don't believe that is how life should be, because we're forcing it. We want it to happen in our time. And that's not sometimes the case, It doesn't happen when we think we're ready, when this higher power that is within allow. And that's acceptance, inspired action, and allow.
That's right. That's marvelous. Any other question, Evelyn, you would like to ask Luca before I ask the most important question?
Oh, there's a big one. I don't want to ask the most important question.
Yeah, no. Do you want to ask anyone before I ask him?
Well, I will ask Luca then a question.
Okay.
So, Luca, as you asked earlier on, you chose metaphysics rather than chemistry, biology, that type of stuff. So, anyone that wanted to are curious about metaphysics, if they chose to go down this path themselves, what discoveries would they possibly make for themselves?
If they chose to embark on studying metaphysics?
Yes.
All right.
But even before going there, maybe touch a little bit. What is metaphysics in the simple terms? Yes. I know you did touch it before, but just for an audience sake.
Sure. Metaphysics is, it tries to explain what is beyond physicality, meaning what are the laws of the universe. I'll give you a practical example. Every religion, okay, being Hinduism, Christianity, Muslim and whatever else. They are all different in a way because they've been, so to speak, mind tailored to the particular group. Although all of them, they have in common the intention of explaining how life works from a metaphysical perspective, meaning how the universe works and how do we create our own reality and how to live in harmony with life. So metaphysics is based on this, purely on this principle, but it's not a religion, it's not a philosophy, okay? It is concerned about, for example, the law of attraction, the law of reflection, the law of mental equivalent. You see, there's many laws that you study when you study metaphysics. And then you study about relationships, you study about forgiveness, you study about, it's a mixture of psychology, although keeping in mind and also taking in consideration the spiritual, the energetic component that psychology just doesn't have. Do I make sense? So if somebody that studied metaphysics is somebody that wants to know how he or she unconsciously or consciously created the life that he or she is living, okay? And then how is that she or he can use his mind, her mind, and also his being, and how he or she can connect with life itself. You know, like meditation and being present is a big part of the metaphysical study. Because it's only always when we are present that we are really aware and connected with the whole. When we are too taken in our thoughts, in our mind, we are focusing on something which is concerned ourself, our ego. But when we let go of it and we are actually extending to the everything, that's when our life it's more guided by this, let's say, universal Wi-Fi, which is that something I believe that gives us, like Evelyn was saying, these signals that they're like, okay, everything now is effortless. I feel joyful. I keep going this way. I don't know why, but it doesn't matter. I don't have to know unless I really want to, but why would I want to? And when something just doesn't feel right, you're so connected and present that, you know, something, okay, I just keep clear. Do I make sense?
That's
like
definitely.
Like somebody who hasn't got, let's say, a metaphysical, but not just about notion of consciousness, which is not present. It's very much maybe intellectual, very much maybe it's very good at it's all psychic worked out. It's very much about being pragmatic and psychological, but it's very much about me and not other people. Maybe it's more into judgment, maybe it's more into his past experiences, and it's not maybe so in tune and fine-tuned with these fine energies, which they could really just lead you where it's most appropriate for you to go. I'll give you an example. I think we are human beings, and as being, I mean, we are soul, we are energy, we are pure essence, we are spirits. And this is the part that would like to express itself in tune with nature, like animals. You know, animals, they fly in formations, fishes in flocks. Everybody knows what to do. And I think if we were honoring more our animal, instinctive being part, most of us could feel that for example, I would like driving, I'll be the driver. Somebody else like cooking, it would be a cook. But because there is the human part, and the human part is the conditioned, educated, trained part, which is full of should or shouldn't. And so we are brought up and educated in a way that says you should be doing this, you shouldn't be doing this. It doesn't matter what you truly feel, what you think, you have to do this. And people suffer because the being would like to express itself freely, but the human part, conditioned and full of judgment, keeps it locked. Do I make sense? Sure. And so we have connection with the whole.
Tell me how much time it takes to learn metaphysics there. Like you are doing, you are instructor, you are coaching it. So as generally, if someone for like me who is a layman who doesn't know about it, how much time it would take someone to understand the basics of it?
Sure. If I'm one of the teachers with the School of Metaphysics, the foundation course, it's about, but there's also the self-awareness course, which is shorter. I think it's only like 6 or 12 sessions.
Okay.
But then the more formal course will be the foundation course, which is 24 weeks, about 8 months long. And you could be doing it. You get quite a lot of information and work. You get to work on yourself. And then also you get a certificate in case you then wanted to progress or doing the practitioner course, which is about one, I think it's about 1 year, yes. And where you get trained to be a metaphysical counselor. So then you could, you undergo an inner journey, but also you learn how to facilitate counseling.
Okay. Evelyn, any question before I say goodbye?
No, I want to say thank you, Luca, for your time today. And Susie, thank you very much for having me here as your co-host. It's
Thank you very much. It was a lovely lot of information. Like, you see, we know, we think, we don't say we know, we think that we know lots of things. But the way Luca spoke tonight, the information was all new to me. I can safely say all new to me. And I never experienced such a way of interpreting the life itself, the way Luca did it. You know, I'm a Muslim by faith, and we practice in one single direction. You know, the way we are brought up there, and I'm sure the other faith do the same thing. But the way you practice, Luca, especially in reference to you, the way you transform your life, it's itself an example for the people there itself there. It's lots of a message to take it. Yes, you can change your life there. You are the one who can do or do it not there. You just need to do it. You just need to take a stepping stone there. And then you will start walking and running. You know, that's what I always say. Take a first step in your life, and that step will yield you lots of good results there. Thank you very much for tonight, there, Luca. And I'll see you again, hopefully soon there in another session. Thank you, Evelyn, as well. Have a nice evening.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.